FBI finding evidence of illegal sports gambling making its way to the NBA. It was already there.
It's the one pro sport to me that feels most like WWE.
Separate but connected within their entire investigation.
It's always felt a little bit rigged to me, really since probably the 90s. This keeps happening with the NBA. Can't stress this enough. Let's say what it is, because it's a league that doesn't always play that hard.
The FBI finding evidence of illegal sports gambling making its way to the NBA. It was already there.
Yeah.
We know that the Jontay Porter story from, last year. And, Chad, now it goes deeper with arrests with Chauncey Billups, a sitting head coach in the NBA for the Trailblazers. He's arrested, as is Miami Heat's Terry Rozier. Separate but connected within their entire investigation that the FBI discussed today at a press conference. You were saying just yesterday, about how you feel like not everything's on the up and up when you watch the NBA. And in regards to prop bets, that's what Rozier is being investigated for.
It's the one pro sport to me that feels most like WWE. I mean, I feel like the outcomes are decided.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a sense of play that it's a work. You're working the crowd a little bit. I mean, we've been to regular season NBA games where for 3.5 quarters, no one does anything, but kind of goes through the motions. Then they kick it into high gear for the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game if it's close. It's always felt a little bit rigged to me, really since probably the 90s, early 2000s. Then you have the Tim Donaghy scandal. We've had Tim on this show, and that was mob connected. And now you've got other ties to the mafia with the NBA. It's not good for a league, Hutton, that is financially great because of their television contract, and they got a great first game on NBC the other night. But from a reputation standpoint, it's not good with the NBA, and this makes it even worse.
The FBI has been investigating this situation for months and investigating Terry Rozier for 2 years. Here's Kash Patel earlier this morning.
But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
And two separate situations here with Rozier and with Chauncey Billups. Joseph Nocella is the U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of New York. He explains this and then has a message for the defendants.
Well, the cases are separate. There are 3 overlapping defendants charged in both cases: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
So with Rozier, Chad, they had flagged him there was an uptick in money coming in on a particular game in 2023 where if you bet the under, you won, where with props, with minutes played or points, or it was very similar to what we saw with Jontay Porter. Or at least the details are very similar. And the NBA actually investigated this and cleared him, which is interesting. And now the FBI diving deeper on that. And then in regards to Chauncey Billups, this is more of a insider poker ring that's going on with the mafia, with ties to the big mafia mob
It's like they're in the movie Rounders.
Yeah, and
that's what I'm envisioning.
He was used as a face card, is the graph that they showed today at the presser, in relation to Billups bringing in the high rollers, right? And also, serving as a distraction more or less, where you come in and you sit down at the table and it's all fixed because you can see the cards underneath the table. They actually showed this as well, where you're going to lose your money. And he's, arrested early morning hours. The city head coach of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, and when I first saw the story, I'm thinking this is a gigantic NBA story about the integrity of the league, and then you see that it's about poker with Chauncey Billups saying, okay, maybe it's not as big of a story for the NBA, but then they tie it all in with Terry Rozier and what he's been up to and dealings with the mafia, and it's really bad all the way around. I'm a sucker for operational names. For FBI or military operations, D-Day was Operation Overlord.
Was
the name of the plan. Operation Zen Diagram was the one to take down the poker ring that was going on, the illegal card games. Love that one. But the best one, Hutton, is the FBI's operation to bring down illegal activity in college basketball gambling and fixing games. Nothing But Bet was the name of that operation. So kudos to Cash Patel and the FBI for your naming abilities of your operations. Those are terrific.
It's
top notch.
And in regards to Rozier, here's Clay tweeted out the details here of what they put out. The FBI alleging this with Terry Rozier told gamblers he would leave a Hornets game early, take the under on all the player stats, $200K in wagers.
Yeah,
and then he leaves the game when he faked an injury.
It says so this was March 23rd, 2023. Unexpected surge of bets, including 30 wagers in 46 minutes from one professional bettor, totaling $13,759. That suspicious activity caused everyone to take it off their books. For Terry Rozier that night, those came in on under for points, rebounds, assists, causing sportsbooks to halt betting, and then Rozier played just 10 minutes before leaving the game, citing a foot injury. And this is what launched the original investigation into Terry Rozier and this professional bettor.
See, I hear this, and I hear about the foot injury. He cites the foot injury. There's no way to actually, if a player says he's hurt, right? So there's no way to actually, say the guy's faking it. I think about load management too. Some of this, the whole quirkiness of who's playing, who's not. There's a player who started the season with load management.
There's also, if someone, there's got to be a way that, if you don't play a set amount of minutes, in these under-type bets, then it's void.
Something.
You just get your money back on the bet, but you don't win any money. I'm trying to figure out a way for sports books to curtail some of this activity with it, and that would be one. Hey, if you don't play at least 30 minutes or whatever the number is you put out there, then you're not going to get those point totals. But you can't do that because some guys you're betting they're coming off the bench.
That's right.
They don't play many minutes at all, and their over-under might be 4.5 points for the game. So I see how it's difficult for everyone. Look, this keeps happening with the NBA. I can't stress this enough about not burying your head in the sand if you're Adam Silver. He's already done it once. He investigated Terry Rozier. He cleared him. Clearly, he shouldn't have been cleared based on this evidence now that we have with the FBI. So the only way to not get through this issue is to avoid it and bury your head in the sand about it. And I think the NBA is going to continue to do that, unfortunately, for them.
They haven't done that, though, with Jontay Porter. They didn't do – they set an example with him. They banned him for life.
Yeah.
Which, my guess is if they had the evidence to do this with Rozier, they would have. Malik Beasley is not named in any of this, but he still has not been cleared by the NBA to return based on their internal investigation into some suspicious activity. It's very easy to do in the NBA based on the prop bets. Chad, you and I were in.
It's also very easy to do, Hutton, and let's say what it is. Because it's a league that doesn't always play that hard, and they have load management as part of their league. And so there's a lot of different excuses you could make for taking yourself out of a game.
That's right. Absolutely. And especially if you're just a six man off the bench, right?
Yeah.
If you're just playing sparingly, if you take the under, you're almost guaranteed to make sure that you hit that. You can't necessarily guarantee you're taking the over in points, rebounds, and assists. But I can guarantee you're going to hit the under if I'm rigging this because I'm going to fake the knee injury.
I have a hard time becoming a fan of this league in its current state because I always talk about the Hippocratic oath of sports, which is do no harm. You're trying to do your best to win the contest in front of you. If you're healthy enough to play, you play. Everybody's giving it their all. No one's half-assing it. Everyone on the court or on the field or on the diamond or on the rink, they're doing their absolute best while they're playing to win the game. And they're giving their full effort while doing it. That is the Hippocratic Oath of sports. I'm not betting on a sporting event that I feel like the jig is up because someone has rigged the game. The Hippocratic Oath is you give your all, and my understanding when I watch a game is that the competitors, the coaches, and the officials are all doing their best to do the best job possible. For the competitive teams, it's to win the game, and for the officials, it's to fairly legislate the game that's in front of them. The moment that curtain is taken away, and you can see all the warts of a league, and you see it time and time again with guys trying to get rich or tip off their gambling buddies about, hey, I'm going to step out of this game with a foot injury at some point, so bet the under and all this. It takes away your credibility as a league. And I think the NBA right now has got a lot of work to do to gain some credibility.
Well, the other part of this is Chauncey Billups with the poker ring that was going on. You have a head coach in the NBA right now in Chauncey Billups, who the FBI has been investigating, and they're telling us he has ties to the Italian mob.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even deeper than just, I'm going to fake a foot injury and you're going to hit a $13,000 bet. Like he's going on behalf of the mob, knowing that the rig is like the fix is in on the poker game, and he's bringing the high rollers to them. Is what they're saying. That's insane. Like you've got a head coach individually involved in with connections to the Italian mob.
Yeah. And I could think of a lot of bigger stars than Chauncey Billups to be the face to bring in big people to a game. But
he would know the high rollers, right?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people want to know about that 04 Pistons championship team. You know, what was Rip Hamilton like behind the scenes? What was Rasheed Wallace? Was he really that angry? Does he need to seek therapy?
Can you imagine the money on the table, the chips on the table, in the middle of you're all in, and it's
all
we've
been
got a picture of this. Let's show the you can see where the table is. You can see underneath the
rig,
table.
the transparent, the translucent table,
the actual, where you can see the cards. So you can see how the game is rigged here. You can see the cards underneath the table.
Looks like the back of my laptop.
It does.
Like all the weathered beating it's taken on the right.
The X-ray. It's nuts, man.
It's crazy, and they converted everything to cryptocurrency to not be flagged by the feds.
Wow.
On it, all the winnings were converted to crypto.
Time to
another thing I don't understand. I'll raise my hand and say it. Don't understand cryptocurrency. Don't want to understand it. To me, it feels like a really good way to money launder, and that's what we're seeing now with the mob.
Yep. Coming up, Josh Booty joins us. Armando Salguero on today's program as well. Straight ahead here on Hot Mic.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Man, can't wait to chat with our next guest. Hot Mic Hunter Withrow here at OutKick. Josh Booty joins us, friend of the show. Time to talk some ball. Let's do that, man. Hey, when's the last time someone introduced you as former Marlin?
Oh, God. Actually, I was at a baseball event, Mariano Rivera's golf tournament in New York, upstate New York, a couple weeks ago, and that's how they introduced me. I'm like, I hadn't been introduced as a baseball player in 20 years, man, but I'll take it. How are you guys doing?
Man, we're great, man.
Doing awesome.
Great. SEC, the whole conference is nuts right now. Chad, did you have LSU in the playoff? I did.
I don't remember. I have to go back and look. I know I had Texas A&M in the playoff, who they're playing this week.
Can you explain what we're seeing? Is Nussmeier hurt? Like, what's going on? Like, it's a totally different player that I'm watching, it seems like.
Yeah, he's a little banged up, but when you don't run the football offensively and you can rush four and get to him, it makes things difficult. There needs to be balance in an offense. A&M's got that balance, and Marcel Reed can run. Nussmeier and that offense hadn't really had a running game that's been up to par the last 2 years, with him being the starter. So, Jaden Daniels, the guy that started before Nussmeier was the quarterback, did a lot with his legs, kind of like Marcel's doing at A&M, and it gives the offense an added threat with the QB runs. Nussmeier's not a runner, so we've got to really be able to run the football traditionally, and that's something that you need to really keep an eye on, because we play A&M this week and Alabama after that, and Brian Kelly's on the hot seat, and I like Brian, but is he a perfect fit in Baton Rouge? We still don't know. Our fans expect championships now that Les Miles did it and Orgeron did it, and of course Saban did it before that and set the standard there and the tone for the program. But Brian Kelly's got to win a lot of games, and the fans' expectations are really high. But that's all over the place. That's Napier and in Florida and Norvell at Florida State. You can look at all these situations with head coaches as the season goes on. The season happens fast, and in the SEC it happens even faster. So you better bring it every week.
Josh, there's a lot of talk about fit culturally at a different job, and everyone knew the moment that Brian Kelly put on that fake Southern accent in the press conference that the fit culturally wasn't great between Brian Kelly and LSU, but this is purely transactional now. You're paying Brian Kelly big money to leave Notre Dame to win you a national championship, right? That was sort of the expectation when he came to LSU. How much more is that bad cultural fit shining through when your offense is what it is right now and you've got an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Kelly? To me, this is where the rubber sort of meets the road. And would LSU fans be okay with everything if the offense was scoring a ton of points and they were in national championship contention?
Yeah, I think exactly what you said. We've got to be able to establish the run. It's like those Alabama teams of the past or the Georgia teams of the past, the strong SEC units. LSU's always been able to run the football. We've always had tailbacks that were successful and even went to the NFL and had success. So I think you have to have that run game strength. That's always was the strength of his teams at Notre Dame, was running the football, keeping the ball away from the opponent. I mean, we've got to be able to do some of that. And I think that's who we thought we were getting when we got Brian Kelly, is someone who we used the tight end effectively. And we were able to do that the last several years. I think, Nussmeier's quarterback rating is definitely down because we don't have the threat of a run, and they can play 7 in pass defense and effectively rush 4, like I mentioned earlier. And, they can do a lot on the defensive side of the ball that can confuse, when you got 3 or 4 guys in a route and you got 7 guys defending, and you can rush and stop the run with 4 or rush the passer with 4 and be effective in that regard, then it makes life tough. I mean, I know that's what Saban said when he came to LSU when I was there, is I got to get 4 guys up front that can rush the passer so I can do all kind of games and play games on the back end and effectively confuse a quarterback and stop, a quarterback runs or the pass game. And so I think that's where we're at right now, is fans expect a lot, but Brian Kelly's not being able to put 5 guys up front on the offensive line that's been able to push people around the last 2 seasons. And we even had Will Campbell last year and weren't able to run the ball effectively. Our big left tackle that's in New England, it was a top 5 pick. So we got to figure out ways to be able to run the ball better. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out. And they're working hard at it, but it hadn't looked any better late. So, who knows what the rest of the season is going to look like. We're playing teams now that are the toughest teams we're going to play on the schedule the next few weeks. So here we go. Let's see what we got.
Maybe they get a little luck with the coin toss. You're in the coin toss this week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I think we've got DJ Chark and I are doing the coin toss captain stuff this week. They'll bring former players in, which is fun for us because we get to be a part of the festivities and get down there on the field and get to hang out with the staff a little bit. And, that's the questions I'm going to ask, is what you guys are asking is, Nuss, are you 100%? How you feeling, buddy? Because, they're undefeated at home this year, but, A&M 7-0 coming in there, top 3 team in the country. Elko's got them rolling, and their offense is really good. I think their defense, is not as prepared as their offense is probably coming into this game. They gave up a lot of points at Arkansas last week. So maybe LSU can do some damage offensively, and it's a high-scoring game. That's what I'm hoping for. It's a fun one in Death Valley. It's supposed to rain Saturday night, so there, we might have some weather elements, but it's going to be fun in Tiger Stadium.
So Nick Saban, when you played versus the Nick Saban you see on set on game day, totally different guy or very similar?
I can see some of the Sabanisms coming out, when he's talking, being everything's relevant. You can hear all these things that he's saying I've heard before. I think that's what made him so unbelievable was how consistent of a human being he was and how hard he worked and how much he prepared. You could tell he's prepared for these game day sets just like he did for, the football Saturdays. And what made him so effective is attention to detail. He wants to be really good at that, and he is. Man, I love listening to him talk. He's great up there with Herb Street and the boys and McAfee and Desmond and all those guys. So it's fun to watch him. But he's the greatest college football coach to ever live, and who thought anybody would unseat Bear Bryant, but he did it, and I'm just happy for him because I knew how bad he wanted to win, and at all costs he would do that, and he wouldn't sleep. The guy doesn't require sleep, and just an effective recruiter and how hard he worked, man, it just all paid off. So it's fun to watch him on Saturdays as the GOAT up on set.
So with your expert eye here, whenever you watch Florida and the move they've made at coach, if you just put Lane Kiffin in that role or Eli Drinkwitz at that program, is that the elixir that they need? Or are they still missing a piece whenever you watch them versus the Florida that we know that they can be versus based on what we saw in the 90s?
Yeah, Kiffin's a Spurrier prototype. If you put Kiffin in that spot, he brings a lot of marketing is such a big part of the hype that goes into college football. And to have a guy like Lane, if he was to step away from Ole Miss and step into that Florida position, I think the hype goes through the roof, right? So that helps with recruiting. It helps with the fan base. It helps with the money that they bring in towards, NIL and the transfer portal. And he's great at that. And, I think that's a lot of what the new wave of college football is, or the new state of college football, right? So I think, he probably does a hell of a job at Florida. If he was to go there, he would probably do, he would bring a new height to the Gator Nation just because of the market. I played for Kiffin. My brother played at SC for Kiffin. I was in Oakland with Kiffin when he was the head coach there. I know Lane, he's one of the best play callers in the world, and Saban would tell you the same thing. What he did at Alabama and the numbers they put up in the spread offense.
Josh,
when they went to
give an example when you say one of the best play callers. Stacking plays, right? Like, give me an example of how he does that better.
I just think he understands, like he's watching the back end of the defense and he understands what the defense is doing. And he's been doing this for a long time. I mean, he's been around Saban and Pete Carroll. That's who we really learned from too defensively. So he understands defense as well as anybody. A lot of offensive coordinators, they're great at play calling, but they don't understand the defense quite as well as he does.
And his dad.
He does. Yeah. And he's been around some of the best defensive coordinators to ever live. And that's Nick Saban. And Pete Carroll. So he's practiced against that. He's watching every move that the secondaries are making as well. His dad was one of the greatest defensive coordinators to ever live, and Monte Kiffin, who led some of the great Tampa Bay defenses and the Tampa 2 defenses that we saw in the NFL. And everybody, had learned from Monte and what he did and their success with Derek Brooks and John Lynch and those guys. So I think he's just been around defensive-minded guys his whole life. And as an offensive coordinator or as a quarterback, the more you know defenses, the better you can become. I think that's why Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and those guys were so good. Drew Brees down in New Orleans with Sean Payton, they understood defenses so well. That's why they're effective, and that's why he can go through the course of a game and make changes offensively to make things work. And I think, or to give them big play opportunities and understand tendencies and where they're good or bad or vulnerable or whatnot. And that's what football's all about, man, is it's a big game of chess that happens fast on Saturdays. And you guys know, you go down there on the field or Sundays and go to an NFL game, it's happening so fast. You got to make unbelievable game time decisions in quick moments or in hostile environments. And Elko's got to go to Tiger Stadium this week and try to do that. Or if Lane Kiffin went to Florida, he would be excellent for the program. We can see what he does at Ole Miss with lesser talent, and you go to a place like Florida that can win national championships and have done it before. The hype goes through the roof. So it would be fun to see him there, but he's doing a hell of a job at Ole Miss, and he's a buddy of mine. So I just pull for him, every Saturday wherever he's at.
Lane train.
From a personality standpoint, he's not Nick Saban, right? And he's not trying to be Nick Saban. What's he like? Because you're friends with him, and you've seen that side, and we all see the Twitter personality of Lane Kiffin, and when he's being interviewed in a vineyard before a game on College Game Day, right? Which was hilarious.
He likes.
Yeah. What was it? What's he like as a coach? Like coach to quarterback type relationship. Is it different? Is it the same? Is he consistent with that, or does the personality come across differently?
The personality comes across differently. Everybody says he hides behind Twitter, and I hate to say that live, but I think he's a guy that likes to poke and create controversy, much like Spurrier did in the 80s and 90s, where, you either love him if you're for him or you hate him if you're against him, because he'll poke and poke and poke, but he's going to do it from kind of coming in the side door. That's just his personality. To be honest, he doesn't say a lot at practice. He's really, really quiet. He's a thinker, and he's thinking about ways, I think, to actually coach his team or coach his offense the most effectively. And so he's real quiet. He's like a mad scientist, to be honest with you, on the field. And I mean, he's looking at his play sheet, or he keeps his head down, or he's looking at the secondary during plays, and he doesn't really have a ton. There's not a ton of interaction. I know he has fun with his players, and I saw that relationship with Jackson Dart was pretty cool. They would go out to dinner and stuff like that, which was very awesome for a coach and quarterback situation. But he's been doing this since he was a kid, y'all, and you know that. I mean, him and Sarkisian were, in their late 20s, running the offense at SC with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and all those weapons that they had. So they've been around this damn game forever, and it's fun to watch how they've adjusted, because they weren't even in the gun back then at all. And now they're, he's in the gun every play. So they've learned a ton of kind of how to migrate with the times. And that's what's fun to watch is him and Sark kind of doing their deal individually. Cause I used to hang with them in Hermosa Beach and go out and drink beers every night. When my brother was playing at SC and I was living down in Hermosa, and they were too. And we were just all young guys, and now they're just doing it at the highest level, and rightly so. They've earned it because they've spent so much time at their craft at trying to become the best play callers in the world, and now they're head coaches as well, which comes with the first of all, a huge price tag. They're making great money, but also a lot of they're doing a lot, man, on campus with recruiting and not just play calling. So it's fun to watch them.
So follow me here. You can hang out with Johnny Manziel or Johnny Football, right? Lane Kiffin. Did you hang out with Lane Kiffin or Joey Freshwater?
Oh man, I hung out with Lane Kiffin actually some, and Joey Freshwater some. So I caught both the guys. When he was head coach of the Raiders. And
Joey sounds like more fun to me. Just me. Sounds like a good time.
Doubt.
What are you going to say about the Raiders?
No, so when I was with the Raiders, he was a rookie head coach in the NFL, and he was a different guy than he was as offensive coordinator at SC. And so he had everything, he had all the responsibilities, and Al Davis was breathing down his throat the last few years of his life, and so I think it was a different role than he had at SC. And when you're a head coach, there's everything to worry about, right? It's even organizational structure of practice, and instead of just X's and O's. So he was much different at SC, being a kid with us having fun, than he was, in Oakland being the head coach of the Raiders. So a lot of responsibility for those guys.
Josh, good to see you, man. We love talking ball with you. And
thank you, man.
We got to do this again. We got to have more.
I appreciate it.
We've got to chat more.
Anytime. You guys do an unbelievable job, and I appreciate it, man. Being on the show, it's fun.
Hey, get the coin toss. Perfect.
Yeah, hopefully the Tigers will win the toss. If I'm out there, they'll never have me back.
Are you actually? You said you're going to be with another player. So do you actually get to flip the coin, or is it DJ?
No, it's actually the officials flip the coin. We're just out there with the team, so we're just.
You're an honorary captain.
You need to demand to flip the coin.
In case there's a fight breakout, I got to be out there to support my Tigers.
With all these officiating controversies, suddenly we don't need someone that's not an official flipping the coin. They're going to claim they did something to the coin.
That's right.
That's fair. Yeah.
Got to be on the up and up.
And there are no more fights out there. They're asking about swapping jerseys after the game now.
Gotta be
Everybody's too nice these days.
You got it, man.
It's a weird wave.
Good to see you, brother.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have an awesome day.
You too. There is Josh Booty. Great dude. Every time he's through Nashville, he's coming. We come across him at different spots across Music City.
Fun talking some ball with him.
Armando Salguero is next up right here on Hot Mic.
Football's finally back, so's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Armando Salguero with us in high demand today up in NYC. He joins us here on the program. Armando, good to see you. Hope things are well.
Things are awesome. So if you hear fire engines, ambulances, police sirens, you know that I'm in New York.
He's arrived.
What brings you to the great city of New York? I love the weather treated window that you have behind you too. It's very Brooklyn like right behind you, but great setting.
Yeah, weather treated or weather worn. Pick your words, however you want. So the NFL owners met here in New York on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that was they were thrilled to see me. Also, Roger Goodell was thrilled to see me, and so that's how I spent my last 2 days.
Well, a lot of activity up in the New York area. Woody Johnson, owner of the Jets, came out and spoke and said, hey, Aaron Glenn's not the problem. It's that stupid quarterback. He's been the issue the whole season. What do you make of the latest Jets situation and Woody Johnson's interference in issues with that team?
So I was standing right there when he was saying it, and I'm thinking, well, so I guess Justin Fields doesn't make year 2 of that 2-year contract. That's that. And this is what people don't understand and probably don't get. Everybody's focusing on Woody Johnson, right? He's getting that from somewhere. He's not just coming up with that randomly. He's getting that because he speaks with, as he said, Coach Aaron Glenn every day. And it's pretty obvious that Aaron Glenn has told him these things and that Woody Johnson, unfortunately for Aaron Glenn, blurted it out. And what he said was, the reason that we are 0-7, or one of the main reasons that we're 0-7, is our defense is playing okay, special teams is playing okay, but the offense is terrible. And why is the offense terrible? We can't complete a pass, he said. And if you can't complete a pass, nobody worries about your running game because they stack the line of scrimmage with 8 guys, with 7 guys, and you can't run. And if you can't run, you can't pass either because our quarterback can't complete a pass. And that quarterback is obviously Justin Fields.
So the inevitable happened, Armando. Brian Callahan fired. Mike McCoy now the interim coach. Here's my question for the Titans organization moving forward. In your NFL circles and coaching circles, how desirable of a job is this? And I get that it's one of 32 and someone's going to want to be an NFL head coach. But if it's the current power structure of Amy Adams Strunk with Chad Brinker, Burke Nihill, and Mike Borgonzi all, in the horizontal box and nothing going vertical, and you've got all these different bosses to answer to, how many coaches want to sign up for that?
Well, it depends on what they're going to be asking for, right? You guys will recall that Mike Vrabel, who happens to be a top 5, top 7 NFL coach, I think we might agree on that.
Yep.
He was fired by the Tennessee Titans, ostensibly because he couldn't collaborate. Now, I've heard
he didn't go there to collaborate, Armando. He went there to dominate. That's what he told them. And that's what I want to see in the next Titans coach.
I've heard of a lot of reasons for firing a coach. He didn't win. How about that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He wasn't a good leader. How about that? He lost the locker room. How about that?
Is that Mike McDaniel or Vrabel?
Yeah, but collaboration is way down on the list of reasons why a coach should be fired. And one of the reasons that Callahan was hired is he can collaborate.
Yes.
And they mention this. They don't hide it. They mention it in their press conferences. And that's great, except that collaboration doesn't get you any points on the scoreboard and doesn't get you any W's in the standings. If they are continuing down that path of looking for a quote-unquote collaborator ahead of leader, winner, experience, they're going to find themselves pretty much in the same situation as what they currently are in. I would expect that guys like Matt Nagy will be candidates, but you're not getting, like, I would say, a John Gruden. He's out there, by the way, and he's a guy. You're not getting guys like that because those guys have their own thoughts and want to run their own stuff. They're not going to ask other people for permission or have meetings to make a decision.
Armando, no, you got to run. We look forward to next week's conversation, as always. There he is, Armando Salguero.
In the great borough of Manhattan.
Yes.
Where he joined us
The great
live.
Borough.
Yes, the great borough. The greatest of the boroughs.
I love that dude, man. If you can't get along with Armando, that's a you problem.
Manhattan was always my borough of choice. If you're looking in the 5 boroughs, Manhattan is the one.
Oh, okay.
The one you want to see.
We need at some point watch Sean about the 5 boroughs.
I'm not a big Staten Island guy. That's pretty lower, a lot lower on the rankings than Manhattan.
What was it? The Gangs of New York? What was it? Something rabbits? Was it black rabbits or dead rabbits?
Dead rabbits.
Yeah.
Bill the Butcher.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Was Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He's always in character.
Yeah.
Tony Vitello is now a major league manager, making the jump straight from college to Major League Baseball, first to do it. Chad, I think of this. Like, there's a lot of talk about, can he handle the clubhouse and all that. I look at this and go, Tony V is going to bring the same moxie and mentality and swagger and confidence, cockiness to the MLB clubhouse. And we see it across all sports, but eventually the college games make their way to the pros, except for MLB, where it takes a while for the college game to infiltrate because a lot of the players are not going to college first. I can't wait to see what he does with this because Tennessee had they were okay playing the villain once they got good. All the other programs love to hate the Tennessee Volunteer Baseball program. Is he going to bring that with the Giants? I think he will.
Yeah, he's not going to change who he is. I mean, that's one thing that Tony Vitello is never going to do.
Can that be sustainable in a clubhouse in MLB?
Yeah. Well, so he's got a guy that's basically his spirit animal on that roster with the Giants, and Drew Gilbert, who played at Tennessee, who is an absolute psychopath in all the best possible ways. And this is a little excerpt from The Athletic from yesterday. Drew Gilbert hung up the phone with his college coach Wednesday and felt the same emotions he experienced so often during his 3 seasons at the University of Tennessee. Inspired, motivated, and pumped up beyond all belief. The only difference now is that Tony Vitello won't be his coach. He's going to be his manager with the San Francisco Giants. Really good open to a story. Credit Andrew Baggerly for that story at The Athletic. But Tony Vitello, so I don't know how he's going to do in Major League Baseball. Let's take a second, though, to give credit to this guy in this situation that this is unprecedented.
It is.
We've never seen anything like this. No college coach with 0 pro experience. We've seen college coaches make the move, but they spent 10 years as a bench coach with the team, or they spent years in the minors.
Oh, the minors, yeah.
Tony Vitello's never spent a second in pro baseball. College through and through, and gets this opportunity with the Giants. It speaks to Tony Vitello's winning. It speaks to his charisma. It speaks to his ability, like Drew Gilbert said, to motivate and unite people. And he united an entire fan base. I'll be the first to raise my hand. I didn't give a damn about college baseball until Tony Vitello got to Knoxville. And Tony Vitello and his teams forced me to pay attention and got me into the sport and got me wanting to watch Tennessee baseball as a Tennessee grad, which, quite frankly, before I didn't care that much about. Give me football and basketball season, and I didn't care about much else.
Yeah.
Tony Vitello got the Tennessee fan base pumped up and inspired, like Peyton Manning, to follow Tennessee baseball. He won a national championship. Tennessee is lesser as an athletic department today without Tony Vitello than they were yesterday with Tony Vitello. Now, he also makes this program a lot more desirable. It's because of his success that they're getting all the modifications done to their stadium, and it's going to be a much nicer place. Whoever takes this job, Hutton, is set up for success, more so than when Tony Vitello took it. And I think Tennessee just loses a great ambassador.
Well,
I mean, he was someone who would answer the call for anything. But everybody's got a Tony V story of meeting him. We've interviewed him multiple times.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great
He
dude.
touched a lot of lives in East Tennessee and the state of Tennessee as Tennessee's coach. And Tennessee is lesser without him. I also saw this comparison. Someone said Tony Vitello is the Nick Saban of college baseball. And if that's true, that makes Tennessee the LSU. Because he's going to go to the majors
and then come back
and be out in 3 to 5 years and come back to another program and win multiple national titles. That's a tough thought if you're a Tennessee fan if that happens.
Yeah, but see, it's a win-win for him because he can take this and go prove that he can be a major league manager, right? Jump right into it.
Or he's got any job he wants.
Or he goes to any job he wants to as a former national champion in college baseball. He goes right back to college. And he would, be pissed off about hearing that because he's taking this to go win. I am intrigued and fascinated to see how he handles the quick fuse, right? He's going to have several moments where he would react a certain way in college as the coach of Tennessee versus the manager, where he's going to get run fast with just how he's sometimes. He's got a temper. He gets pissed off fast. So sometimes for good reason. But this is, a clubhouse can be different than the locker room.
Yeah, it's going to be different. But if he can get everyone to go along with his style and find guys that are of this style, I think it could work. And I think this is going to be kind of the Peyton to the Indianapolis Colts type thing.
Okay, one more thing.
There's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans that now become Giants fans.
And we're about to see the Dodgers rivalry is going to be awesome. But we're going to see more of this infiltrate. I'd say infiltrate. I like it. It will slowly, the process of becoming this in Major League Baseball for colleges. College is entertaining. You hit a homer, you're bat flipping, you're doing like different chants, you're doing hand signals, and you're all these different things, these chants from the dugout to the. Tony V wanted that. He encourages that. You hit a double and you're doing different things at second base, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that going to be part of the process now? No, because we don't see that in MLB.
Could be.
We don't see that.
I could see the Giants being completely different and separate
absolutely.
of every other major league team the way they're going to be managed.
There will be an attitude to it.
Yeah.
And again, it's entertaining. He will bring that.
I just hats off to him.
Great job.
There's so much talk from the Tennessee fan base about whose fault it is, or him and Danny White didn't get along. And I'm thinking there's a chance that him and Danny White could be best of friends, and he's still going to take the Giants' opportunity.
I do think
part of you probably feels like you owe it to all college baseball coaches that you take this first step.
To get this. Yeah.
So because if it works, you're going to open the door for other college coaches to maybe move up to the major leagues.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think they could have had the best relationship, and this move still would have happened. So congratulations to Tony Vitello. Tennessee fans aren't ever going to be mad at that guy for what he brought to baseball, and he brought the school a national championship.
Two quick thoughts. First, it's a young man's game in the NFL now. We're seeing guys in their 30s. Or Sean McVay, we go back where you're head coach or now general manager. You've been in the league for 11 years, and you're a general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? You don't see that in baseball because you work your way. This is an example of that crossing over to baseball now because we haven't seen. We saw it in the NBA with J.J. Redick. No prior experience, head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. This is that example. Number two, Tennessee is a great example of the House settlement where you've got the cap, $20.5 million or whatever. Mm-hmm. The percentage of what sports that goes to. Georgia's not doing this, to my knowledge. They're not trying to do football, women's basketball, men's basketball, baseball. Tennessee is. So how do you separate the percentage of the cap to each program? That's difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wanted more of the percentage, and I would too, of that money. Anyway.
Well, I also think that
how many other programs are trying to do that and how difficult it is based on the cap.
The revenue share is obviously going to be a big part of it, but that collective's ability, you got to sign legitimate, contracts to sponsor things.
Yep.
But whoever your collective is, I think in a place like Tennessee, it's conceivable that every single major sport will have their own collective. And the good news for Tennessee baseball is Tony Vitello just spawned a lot of major leaguers with his teams.
I've got the full numbers,
so
like 50-something.
You're going to have money being pumped back in, right? You're going to hit those guys up now for a donation for a shortstop. So whatever the Tennessee baseball collective becomes, that funnels in on top of what they're going to get in revenue share.
Yep.
Candace Parker being a big part of the Lady Vols collective, right? You're going to have money on top of that to remain competitive in the SEC and the national scene. I think Tennessee's a good experimental ground of how that could possibly work. But, Hutton, we know that the bulk of it, large bulk, is going to go to football. And then a smaller bulk of it's going to go to men's basketball. And Tennessee's going to be no different. Then it's going to be baseball, women's basketball, close to the same. But you're going to have your own collectives or money on top of that based on the market value for players you're trying to attract.
And you've got one program winning a title.
Yep.
And it's the baseball program. By the way, 52 players drafted, 10 first-round picks. Well done. And a title. Back at it tomorrow. One big thing on every NFL game. Top 10 college football games of the week. We get you ready for the weekend right here on Hot Mic. Hutton Withrow, 11 a.m. Eastern.